So this session might be short. It's about like 30 minutes. And because you guys are doing midterms, I think, recently, so I want to talk about like mode management, how to manage scenes in your sketch, and how to do time triggering thing. Like if you want to do a firework, how to control the position, and also do a little drag and drop tutorial, like how to make an object, and you can drag and drop it. So now most of you are like doing things like you want to switch mode, like you have a mode creating things, you have a mode like you have different scenes in your program. So okay, fine, fine. So if you want to do modes in your sketch, most of the time I will make a new like a mode thing. Okay, just start some time. And yeah, so like initially the mode is 0, and you like switch mode, like if you have the first mode, it's a starting scene, and the second mode it is like a playing scene. I will add using a key press function to switch the mode variable. So function key pressed, and you can get the key. And always I'm using key variable directly, so we can console .log key. So when we are like typing on the screen, we can see that the key is actually the character you are typing on the keyboard. Not using that the key code is a little non-convenient to use. So like we can switch mode based on like 1 or 2 or 3. So if key equals 1, we make mode equals 1. And now save. And if you're like blocked by the console, just add some extra space, and you can like scroll it. So if key equals 2, mode equals 2. Or if key equals 3, mode equals 3. So now you have 3 modes, and you can draw 3 different scenes based on the mode variable. So if you want like if mode equals 1, you draw some stories here, like we make the default ellipse here, and also add the background, and it's a white background. So the mode is defaultly 0, so if nothing's here, and press 1, you start in the mode 1, and press 2, and we might add some random things here. So if mode equals to 2, mode equals to 3, we draw like red backgrounds with transparency, and also change it to a rectangle. And if the mode is 3, we make we make a rotating rectangle. So rotate frame count divided by 5. So now mode is 0, and you use 1, you have circles. Use 2, you have rectangles. Use 3, you have like rotating rectangles. And yeah, so background, we just like remove the alpha part. So mode 0, mode 1, mode 2, mode 3. And so that's how you manage your like scene inside your code. Okay. And if you want to like switch scene based on some interactions, like in mode 1, if we have like a rectangle on the right side of the scene, we want to like when the circle touch the rectangle, we switch the mode. You can just like so we add a rectangle, add width divided by 3, and height divided by 2. So now in mode 1, we have a rectangle here, and when our ellipse collide with the rectangle, we want to like switch to another mode. So you can just like if distance between mouse X and mouse Y, and between the second point, width divided by 3 and with height divided by 2, is smaller than like 10 or smaller than the radius 50. And always remember that when you are drawing an ellipse, it's using the twice of the radius. So if you want to detect the distance, you always use the half of that. It's the radius, and this is the whole size of the ellipse. So if it is smaller than 25, we make mode equals to 2. So like 1. So yeah, so okay. So this is 0, 1, mode 1, mode 2. But we can switch to mode 2 just touching the rectangle. Hey. Oh yeah, touching the rectangle, yeah. So this is how you manage your mode, like in different, you can switch like different paintbrush and different scene, and like you can have different background settings in your program. Yeah. So the second one is time trigger. So if you want to make like a firework, you have to like add an object and make it move and like explode after 5 seconds. How can we do that is we can use a function called setTimeout. So setTimeout is actually a function that accepts 2 variables. One is a function, an extra function, and also a second parameter is how many milliseconds you want to execute this function. So if we want to, like, when we enter scene, when we touch the rectangle, we want to like do something after 5 seconds, we can add a function here. So if we like close to the rectangle, we switch to mode 2, and also we use a setTimeout. After 3,000 milliseconds, that is 3 seconds, we print something out. So like console.log, boom. Okay. So like in mode 1, we touch it. After 3 seconds, we can see that the boom is here. So you can do something like this. You want a scene in the middle, just sustain for 5 seconds. You can just like set timeout 5, and you switch the mode to 3 again after that. So now you switch to mode 1, and you touch it. After 5 seconds, it'll switch to mode 3. Yeah, so you can do something like this to switch between your things. And this is often like if you want to like remove a particle after a certain period, or if you want it to transform to other things else. So we want to make like a very small firework. So we make class fireworks. And fireworks, it has its initial position. So we use constructor, use px, py. And we set the x and y on that variable. So maybe x and y. And we set this dot x equals x. This dot y equals y. And we set the array to contain those fireworks. So var fireworks equals an array. And now we want to add fireworks in mode 2. So we want, whenever we are pressing, and also we are in mode 2, want to add a firework object. So we make a function called add firework. And in add firework, we make a new object of, do you guys learn class already? Okay. So we want to add a new class of fireworks. So in this one, we just like fireworks.push new fireworks, and we give it mouse X, and we want it to start from the bottom, or maybe just mouse Y at first. So whenever we are clicking on the screen, so function mouse pressed, and whenever we click on the screen, we check for the mode if it is in mode 2. So if mode equals 2, we wanted to add a new firework, so we run add firework. So now you can control in which scene, which functions are triggering different actions. So in scene 2, we check for console, and we add 2. And you can see that for fireworks, you have 2 fireworks inside the scene object. So now we can draw this out. So we make a new radius. So fireworks start from like radius 10 to radius 50 or something like that. So we have this dot radius equals 10. And we also want to make a draw function to draw the fireworks. So we use the same technique. We translate to the firework position and we draw the circle. So push and pop to prevent the axis changing. And we translate to that position. So translate to this dot x and this dot y. And then we draw an ellipse at the radius. So at the position 0 and 0 with radius. So now we want to run fireworks.draw in scene 2. So in mode 2, we use fireworks.forEach, firework. You should use like for loop. So for var I equals 0, I smaller than fireworks.length, I plus plus. And we run fireworks.draw. So fireworks I.draw. So now in scene 2, we click, there's fireworks appear on the screen. And we want to add an update function to the fireworks also. So we want to add update responsible for like data changes for the fireworks. So we make this dot y divided by 5. Okay. So now we also have to run the update before we draw the fireworks. So now we have fireworks in mode 2. So when you're clicking in other scenes, it's not working. But in scene 2, we have fireworks. And now we want it to explode after like 2 seconds. Is it too fast? Like, okay, totally fine. Or you understand the concept? Okay. So we want to explode after 2 seconds. Then we can use set timeout. So how to use set timeout with like fireworks? You can like when you initiate a new firework, you can reference itself. So that means like if you like set timeout and give it a new function, and after 2 seconds you run something else. But remember that if you are using like give it a function, this inside this scope will just lost function. So you have to most of the time I will like var underscore this equals to this. So we can still reference to the original object, not to the function itself. Or this will lost like this will be like assigned to this will be point to this function, not the class object. So now we can like this dot radius equals 100. So we can see that after like fireworks like it'll like become bigger. Yeah. So we can also have modes on fireworks, like it is exploded or it is not. So like this dot exploded equals false, and we can determine the firework motion by exploded mode. So if this is exploded, we do something, or else we do something. So when it doesn't explode yet, we minus the y, but when it explodes, it should stay in the same position. And we also do this dot radius equals 100. So I would recommend you to just like change the mode in the set timeout. So you don't have to do some like very complex like methods inside set timeout. You just like changing the mode to true, that it be exploded. And you can control like the update function. Like if it is exploded, we make the radius plus equals 5, and you can see that like when you release the firework, it like exploded. Yeah, and we can make them a little faster and make it a little randomness. So this can be like done by this dot color equals to color. We give it 3 random numbers. Random 255, 255, and 255. 3 of this. Okay, so now we can see that we have and also before you draw the firework, you assign this color to fill. So fill this dot color. So 2 mode, you have a lot of different colors of fireworks. Yeah, kind of fun. Yeah, and you can like give it different velocity, just like we taught before. I just give it a random number and give it an extra Vx and add Vy and add it to the firework. So this is how you can like, and also like in the final stage, you want to like remove a firework. So I will teach you like a very like a fast method of doing this. So after you explode, you explode equals to true, and you want to like remove the firework after like 5 seconds. So you put another set timeout inside the set timeout. So it will trigger exploded into true after 2 seconds, and then it set a new timeout like after 2 seconds, another 2 seconds. So another 2 seconds, I want to set this dot live equals false. It is equals to true at first, and then as I set this dot live equals false. So I can determine should I remove this object inside the array based on this live, and we can also like draw it out. Like most of the time in debugging, I can use text. I just draw this alive and add the 0 position also. And also we change the fill to 0. So now we have fireworks in mode 2. It is true, and it will be false after 2 seconds. Kind of fun. I like the words. Yeah. So, and also like when you are like given random color, it often like be like ugly because we have like different brightness and different contrast. So I will do like I will do something like I push and pop, and I use a different color mode, like using HSV before I assign the color. So if we change the color mode to HSV, and we give it random from 0 to 360, and also brightness and contrast, you can get like a similar color assignment. HSB. Yeah, so the brightness is still like low, but if we increase the brightness, I think the maximum is 255, but you can see the result, like there will be like similar brightness and similar saturation, and you can still like lower the saturation a little bit more, and they'll be like kind of similar. They'll be a little better than like just giving like random 255 to the colors. Yeah, and then we want to remove that object afterwards. So live, like after 3 seconds, we want to remove that. So in this one, most of the time I would directly do some array transform inside JavaScript. So we can test on this, like use inspect console, and we use, so now if you have an array like var array equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and if you want to like just filter out the numbers bigger than 3, how should you do? It's like array.filter, and you give it a function, and the function will accept the data, and we just want to return the data if the data is bigger than 3. So now we can get 3 and 4 and 5. So this can be like, if you give the condition like d mod 2 equals to 0, they'll give you the even numbers. Yeah, the even numbers. So we can use this technique. If the fireworks live equals true, we keep it in the array, else we just filter it out. So how to remove the dead fireworks? Just like fireworks equals fireworks filter, and we give it a function to accept the data, and we return the data is the data valid or not. So if the data dot live equals true, we return true. We want to keep this item in the array, or we just return false. So now the fireworks array will be like filtered and assigned back to the fireworks array. So when we like adding something to the fireworks, it'll be disappear after 2 seconds. So this is how you can control and do some time thing and do some mode change inside your object and give it like a certain period. You don't have to like connect for like, you don't have to like have a timestamp and calculate the time delta between the past times. And so the last thing I want to talk about is set interval. So set interval is actually just like set time out, but it'll like run forever. So if we like set interval, and we can still give set interval a function. Like we want it to run every 1000 milliseconds, every second. And we want to change the color every second. So this will be like, this set interval will run forever. So if you run it and make a firework, it should change the color per second. Yeah, so if you give it like 200 milliseconds in mode 2, it'll be something like this. It's fun. Yeah, so this is how you can use set interval, and also you can do like, if you want the character to trigger a certain motion when in a certain period of time, you can do that. So if you want this dot type equals to like circle at first, and in set interval we also want to like change the shape of that thing. So like we make another set interval, and it runs every second. And it is doing like if this dot shape equals to we use shape equals to circle, we make this dot shape equals to rectangle, else we make it a circle. So it'll like switch between circle and a rectangle. So now we can like based on this shape to determine which shape should we draw. So like if this dot shape equals to rectangle, equals to circle, we draw the ellipse. Or else we draw the rectangle. So draw the rectangle. And also want to like change the rectangle mode to center, so it'll like align to the center. So in setup function, we use rectangle mode, center. So now in the second scene, we have some of them. Sometimes they are rectangles, sometimes they are circles. So this is how you do the things. And also I want to change it to HSB still. So this is how you manage mode and time, and also do like interval function triggering, and also just like one time or multiple times on your program. Are you guys like confused, or is this like useful? I think it might be useful for your midterm project. Yeah, like you can control animations more. So do you have like any other questions or anything you want to know about? Sprite sheets? Okay, so if you want to have sprite sheets, you can search for p5.play. p5.play. It's not a website. This one. So this one is actually a sprite sheet player, and you can see the tutorials. You can load the set of like sequence of PNG, and you can play it out. And it's simply like just like load image, but instead of load one, you load like multiple animations. Yeah, and it can do like interpretations between numbers you give it. So if you have 7, you just give it the start and the end. It'll interpret the images. And you draw it as an image using animation function. And you have some control example, like you can control like sleep the play, sleep a stop, and start from 0, go to frame whatever. Oh, yeah. So this one is very useful when you're like doing. Oh, this is cute. Yeah, it's very cute. Yeah, so you can use this library for doing GIF things. Yeah, so you actually cannot load GIF, but you can load a set of sequence PNG. So, and also if you want to use it on open processing, you have to. I want to make it better. A second. Okay, so you have to like switch it here, and show all, and enable p5.play. Yeah, so you can use the functions. Yeah, so that's about today's content. Anything else, like when you're doing your midterm, more than some technicals you want to use, or some technical problems we're facing?
Come up with a schedule.
Not? Okay. So when's the midterm project like due?
It's due. Not the next Thursday.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I thought it's this week or like next week. Ah.
Next week we received a topic.
Okay. Okay. Oh, again? Ah, okay. So if you want to have 2 characters, so I just make a short demo. If you can imagine, one is the mouse position and one is just the position of circle. So where like x and y equals to 0, and we want this to chase the ellipse. So we make now another ellipse, x and y. So it is here now, and also drag a background. It's a little confusing. And draw 50 and 50 circle, and we make this one red. So fill red, and this one fill white. So now we have 2 characters, and we want the red one to chase the white one. So there's 2 methods. One is using lerp. So we want like x equals lerp from x lerp to mouse x, lerp 0.1, like 10%. So we can have like y lerping y toward mouse y. So it is following, yeah. And also you can like change the percentage to like 5%. It'll be like much more slower. Yeah. And there's another technique. If you want it to be like a constant speed, not just like moving so much, you can use vectors. So how to use a vector is like you can var a new delta vector equals to create vector x and y, mouse x minus x and mouse y minus y. So that is how much you want to plus to the x and y. And I want to constrain the length of the vector. That means I know though it's this much far, I just want to like move toward this direction, but with like 5 of the length. So you can search for p5 reference and get vector, and you can see there's a method called limit. So you can limit the magnitude of the vector. So, or you can just directly set magnitude of the vector. So if you set mag, like delta dot set mag 1, that means I just walked 1 toward the direction of the mouse, and then I add delta back to the x and y. So like x plus equals delta dot x, y plus equals delta dot y. So now we can get the circle is moving toward the direction, and we can move a little faster. Yeah, it's following. So this different technique. When it's lerping, it's fun, but if you are doing like more MPC things, more using vectors. Yeah. Yeah, getting center. And also, you can also use like arctangent to get the degree of the character. So if we draw its head with 20 and 20, and we pan a little bit toward the right side. So you can imagine this one is its head, and want it to rotate toward the direction. So how we can do this is we can get the angle, so ver angle equals to, just call it ANG, equals to arctangent 2. And you can search for arctangent 2 also, like arctan 2. Don't be panic about it. It's just like giving it the y delta and give it the x delta, and it'll return an angle for you. So we want to get the angle between mouse x minus x and also mouse y minus y. So once we get the angle, we rotate the canvas, but remember to push and pop before you rotate it. So before we draw the character, we get the angle and we rotate to the angle of the character. And I remember to like using translate. Yeah, so translate to x and y, and you draw the 0 point. So we translate to that point, and we get the angle of that 2 point. And once we get the angle, we rotate the canvas and we draw the character. So the effect will be like, it'll be like, oh, it is reversed, a little weird. But we can like just give it a negative sign. Oh, I know why it's reversed. Because we have to give it y first, like y and x. Yeah, so it'll always point to the character. So you can do a lot of things by this, like just adding its eyes, eyeball, fill white, and fill 0. Yeah, and you can do something else like more fun than this. But this is how you can get the angle of the. Yeah, sure. Yeah, and you can make a lot of class of this, and they can all follow the position, and you can just make them match what we do in the previous sketch, in the firework one. So like fireworks. So for this one, description, press 1, 2, 3, 4 to switch, and I call it fireworks. Okay, so I just post this to the Slack channel. View section. And also this one. Yeah. Yeah, we will have like also like 30 minutes of review session. So a little shorter. Yeah. You can ask questions too. Sure. Oh, there's also like an interesting effect if you are doing those things. Like if you wanted to move toward the mouse position and you are using lerping, actually it'll be very fun if you like if it is not you can just like that this.x equals to we want to get like plus equals mouse x minus this.x times 0.1. So we want to move toward that. We add 10% of the delta is same as lerping. We can also do y plus equals minus y plus times 0.1. Oh, it's a little weird. Oh. So if you like this is lerping in the position, but if you assign to the velocity, it'll be very fun. It'll be like particle-like force field. So if we add another like this dot vx equals 0, this dot vy equals 0, and we let x plus equals vx, the same one we done last week, and y plus equals vy, and then we add something to the velocity itself, not changing the position. So the effect will be accumulated. So what we will see is like it'll be like orbiting. It's a little weird. We give it a little smaller. Yeah, so when you're adding to velocity, you will like you add too much to velocity, so you like come over the position and come back and come over. So you can time this by like if you want to give different mass to these like velocity change, you can like divide it by this dot r, divided by this dot radius, the radius. So like the bigger one will change the velocity like much more slower, and the smaller one will change faster. So when we have a lot of one, it'll be like the large one is hard to control. And you are an artist now. Yeah. So that's how you can do like use playing with this like lerping things inside your code. It's a little weird. Why it's like keep a little position with me. Yeah. So other questions or other things you want to know about? Okay, great.就是我们初始化的位置，对，就初始化的时候，就给它发的位置。然后才会冒出来这些刚开始的时候产生那个物件的时候，把它放进去。
running file 这些东西是在叫一个，
对，就把根据这个工厂新建一个 file， 然后那个就是工厂可以过去里面要我给它预设一个这样的东西。
我说那个 dash。
对。Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming. class 就是那个样说明书，它告诉你说这里面有什么东西要怎么做，但它不是一个实体的东西。
像这个就是它的长相，
它长相会有什么东西在上面？ 把那个录影终止掉。等一下。